Maybe three's the charm, because it took 3 tries, but we finally have a plea from the man federal prosecutors called Donald Trump's co-conspirator. On Thursday, Walt Nauta, Trump's personal valet, entered a plea of not guilty to 6 felony counts in the classified documents case. Those counts include conspiracy to obstruct justice, false statements, and withholding and concealing documents. His arraignment was previously delayed twice because Nauta claimed he could not retain local counsel. But he now has new Florida representation. And if you're wondering who would hitch their wagon to this, a 34-year-old attorney from Fort Pierce, Florida. Sasha Dayton is a former state public defender, and her firm website focuses on domestic violence injunctions. The New York Times reporting that her name does not appear at all in the nationwide database for federal cases. So it remains to be seen how that will shake out for Walt Nauta. The plea from Trump's right-hand man comes as we're learning new details from newly unredacted portions of last summer's search warrant affidavit for Mar-a-Lago. Federal agents were concerned when they saw surveillance footage showing Nauta moving dozens of boxes out of a storage room just days before investigators went to recover sensitive documents from Trump's residence. So what do these new developments mean? Joining me now is Barbara McQuade, MSNBC legal contributor, former U.S. attorney in Michigan, and the co-host of the #Sisters-in-Law podcast. Barb, my friend, prosecutors have alleged, we've read it in that indictment, right, that Walt Nauta lied in a May 2022 interview about his knowledge of the classified materials being kept at Mar-a-Lago. Now we know. Lordy, there are tapes. This newly unredacted search warrant affidavit describes in greater detail the weight of the evidence against Nauta. So, how does this new info change the calculus for Walt Nauta to either cooperate with the feds or just straight up take a plea deal?
You know, the video really seems to have prompted these charges against Walt Nauta, and even the search, Katie. You know, there was some reluctance by the FBI reportedly to go in, but once these tapes were revealed showing them moving the boxes out, and then Nauta talking to the FBI the next day and contradicting what was visible on the tapes, it really became apparent that he would be either a witness or a defendant. Now, he had an opportunity to be a cooperator back before the indictment was filed. That would have been the time for him to maximize his value. But, since that time, the government has been able to obtain an indictment against Donald Trump, and it's riddled with lots of references to other witnesses. So I think his opportunity to get a good deal diminishes by the day, if not already. Although I will say, as a prosecutor, you can never have too much evidence. And so if he were to come forward and say, I would like to plead guilty, it is apparent that the evidence against him is very, very strong, at least for that false statements claim, where he claimed not to have any information about the boxes, even though he was seen the day before moving them around at Mar-a-Lago. I would suspect that he may get less value in exchange at this point, but if he wanted to come forward, plead guilty, and cooperate, I think the government would be all too happy to take his information.
So his new lawyer, Sasha Dayton's name doesn't even appear in PACER, which you and I know is the federal courts case system across the United States. And she may have significant state court experience with some criminal defense and DV injunctions and car accidents. But Barb, let's speak kind of not on the substantive legal issues, but on the ethics, right? What happens here with her professional credibility serving as local counsel for Walt Nauta?
Well, I'm a believer that everybody has a right to a defense, and so representing someone, even in a case like this that's as egregious as this, is certainly something that many defense lawyers do, because they believe that their job is to defend the Constitution and the rights of the accused, regardless of how egregious the conduct may or may not be. I think that her absence of experience in the federal system could be harmful. The whole reason for local counsel is you want to have a local expert in the process and the procedures that go on there. She is an experienced public defender, so on the substance of the law, she should be fine. But, in terms of knowing the rules of the court, that could be challenging. And, I'm sure there will be people down the road who say she was that Trump lawyer, so I don't want to work with her. But, there are people who represent all kinds of people who've been charged with serious crimes, including murder and kidnapping and other things, who, have plenty of other clients that follow. So I think her reputation will be fine.